time into the NOF studio. Tyrann Mathieu, 3-time Pro Bowler, Super Bowl champion, the Honey Badger. We could go on and on, but welcome back to New Orleans and welcome to our studio.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys having me.
What's it been like to be back in New Orleans now for a full year and kind of getting acclimated back into the city, back with family and friends?
Nah, it's been great. As far as that go, I've been kind of having to like readjust my diet. You know what I mean? That's probably like the hardest part. But it's great to be back home.
That's awesome. And we know this time last year, a lot going on, right? With training camp, OTAs, things like that. How will this year look different for you now that you are here and you are going to be able to be a part of all of those things?
Yeah, I mean, well, I feel like mostly, I have a foundation now. I didn't sign until, after the draft, last year. So I missed a lot of the off-season workout program. So it's been kind of cool to be, in the building this past month, just getting to know the guys again. And like I said, just continuing to try to build on that foundation.
How much different do you think this year will be for you, given that you do have that momentum this offseason and then going into camp and everything, just having more of that time together with the team? And how do you think it maybe affected you last year not having it?
I mean, honestly, I expect it to be a much better season, for me, from beginning to finish. I think when I signed, obviously it was exciting to come back home, but it was a transition. I think emotionally, spiritually, I had invested so much in Kansas City. And so, and even with the family dynamic, like they was kind of torn too about leaving Kansas City. So, just having to kind of juggle all that. But I feel like this go around, definitely in a better place, emotionally, spiritually, and just excited, man.
How did you deal with that, the emotional transition and all that?
Yeah, I mean, it was tough. I think a lot of people, especially people that know me, people in my family, they kind of consider me, the strong one, the one that can kind of, battle anything or overcome anything. But, I think at the end of the day, we're all human. We all have our moments where we may need a break. We may need a breather. But I was thankful and grateful, too, for the Saints, because I had missed the first 5-6 days of camp. And I think, a big part of that was, just me trying to, just transition,
Is it tough having to be that guy for your family all the time? That's the strong guy carrying all the weight. And I'm guessing coming back here, you probably felt a little bit more of that burden.
Yeah, like I said, it was kind of like the best of both worlds, you know what I mean? Because, on one hand, with an opportunity, obviously it's exciting, to come back home and play in front of family and friends. But, like you said, it comes with, its stress. It comes with its challenges. So just thankful, man, that I was able to kind of get through that. And, like I said, just always continuing to surround myself around good people, people that I can lean on and people that can, kind of push me forward.
I know it was challenging for you, but how did the community embrace you back? Was it more of that embracing you being back in New Orleans, or was there maybe a little give and take there for the first year?
You know what? I think it was amazing. I think, everywhere I went, and, I live on the North Shore, so I'm not, like, in the city too much, but when I do come, in the city, it's all love. And I think it's always been that way. And, I think football aside, I think a lot of these people just happy to see me doing good, having beautiful kids and, just being that type of person.
Now that you have been back, looking at what all the offseason moves the Saints have made in the draft, undrafted free agents, Derek Carr, what's your impressions of where the team sits now compared to what it did just 2 months ago?
Man, I tell you the truth, it's exciting, you know what I mean? And, last year, man, like, we were in so many games, and it was like a play here or a play there, maybe a missed tackle here or a drop ball there, like, and, I think that added to us, losing 10 games. Like, but, I think, foundation-wise, like, we have a great team. And I think, anytime you can add, young guys that can, get to the quarterback or you can add a quarterback that can, see the defense and know where to go with the ball and, put it in his playmaker's hands. Like, I expect us to be much better, this year.
You've played Derek Carr several times. You used to be in the same division. What's the scouting report?
Oh, man. I think the scouting report, honestly, is, a veteran quarterback, a guy that can, make every throw. I think he's, underrated, as far as getting outside the pocket. Even though he considers himself a pocket passer, like, I mean, he took off on us a couple times. You know what I mean? So he could definitely read defenses, and like I said, like he know where to go with the ball. Like he's gonna get the ball in his playmaker's hands. Like even if it's a check down to Kamara, like he's gonna get him the ball and let him do what he has to do with it.
No, I know some of the newcomers who I see you guys going back and forth about basketball.
Yeah.
First, who's the best basketball player on the team? But secondly, tell us about Colin Saunders too, just his athleticism and everything.
Oh man, well I'll start with Colin, man. Obviously we won a championship, in Kansas City together, and he's always been one of those guys. He's kind of like me, right? Like in a sense, he's always been undersized, probably undervalued, but I think he's sneaky athletic. I mean, any guy that's 300 pounds that could backflip,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, hey, you might got something going on. So, but he's gonna be one of those guys in the locker room, man, that just picks everybody up. Like he never has a bad day. You know what I mean? Even when he's venting on Twitter. Like, trust me, he's smiling behind it. You know what I mean? So he's a good dude. He's good for the locker room. And like I said, he's one of those guys that's really sneaky athletic. So I think that'll be, a help for us. I think as far as the best basketball player, I gave him a good taste, yesterday.
Okay.
And I haven't really been playing basketball as much, because I got like 2 ACL tears. So it's like, like I'm 30 years old now. Like I don't got time to be running around with y'all. So, But I had to get him a little dose yesterday, so I think all of them recognize now, like, I was like Derrick Rose, before his ACLs. You know what I mean?
So you guys are on the real court, though. It's not just a little locker room shoot around. Like, you guys are actually out there right now.
Nah, we be running around, at the Pelicans facility, so, it's legit.
Did Lonnie get out there? I saw he wanted a game today.
He came in late. But first, me and DeMario, we won like 7 games in a row. So me and him, we in our 30s. So we like, we like, oh man, come on, man, my feet hurt. So he come in there all late, and he's just like, oh, I want to see what you got. I was like, bro, I just won 7 games in a row. He was like, no, don't take your shoes off. So I'm like, bro, all right, I put my shoes back on, and 3 games in a row.
Gotta keep the body right. First of all, Demario Davis coming at you with pads on is scary enough on a football field. Yeah. That guy coming at you on a basketball court, I just got an image of that.
Right, yeah.
What is that? What is he like on a basketball court? Just as intimidating?
If I could describe him, man, he's like a shooting Ben Wallace.
Oh, God.
You know what I mean? Like,
right, okay.
Yeah, that's kind of like who he is, man. But, I mean, he's intimidating without his pads on. I'll tell you that, so... He's just built different.
Yeah, got to keep the body right at y'all's age. But you mentioned some of the new guys that have come in. You've also welcomed in 2 new coaches, a new defensive coordinator, new secondaries coach as well. Have you been able to meet with them? Yeah. What do those conversations look like?
Yeah, so, actually, Joe Woods, he interviewed me when I came out, of LSU. So
really?
I always admired him. Obviously, him being able to put together the secondary he did in Denver. I think those guys, well, if you think about the 2010s, you'll probably say Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
The 49ers had some good secondaries, and Denver too. And I think the Cardinals too when we was in Arizona with Patrick Peterson and all us. But I probably say like those were the 5 secondaries that you kind of you wanted to watch. So he's always been a coach that knows how to motivate his players, knows how to get the secondary plan, at a high level, and, even Coach Rob. I've had a chance to talk with him, and, I think anybody that's, played in this league 10 years and, has some success and then transition to coaching is always somebody that you can, learn a lot from. So he's intense. You know what I mean? Like he's passionate. So I like that.
Is there a comfort level there then with Joe Woods having already gone through an interview process with him?
Yeah, I think, it makes it easier, for you to communicate with these guys, talk to them. And, like I said, that's a big part of it, trying to be a great team, a great defense, even a great offense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's that communication between players and coaches. So, I see it going well for us.
Yeah, that was one of the surprises, I think, of the offseason is seeing Richard get let go. Is there just room for improvement for how everything operates? Was there maybe a little... I don't know. One of the words I heard was a lack of harmony, maybe, in how everything ran. Is it possible for it to be a little bit smoother with just some of the new guys coming in?
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. And I think not to take nothing away from Chris. I think he's one of the better coaches I've ever been around. Just from a schematic standpoint, fundamentally, he just knows how to get you in the right, mindset to go out there and win the battle. You know what I mean? So we had a lot of injuries last year, man.
Yeah, true.
Like, so, it was kind of, I've played with like 3-4 different safeties. You know what I mean? So, and I'm pretty sure the corners could say the same. So, just really looking forward to, all us being, hands on deck this year, and, obviously coaches as well.
And I'm sorry, if you went back and you looked at last season and there's, outside of the injuries, maybe 3 or 4 bullet points, so like, okay, we could do this better. What would a couple of those things be?
Well, I think we have enough talent, in the back end especially. And I think we have enough athletes too. Like, we should have caught way more, interceptions. We should have forced way more fumbles. Obviously the missed tackles, especially early in the season, like I think that was the reason we lost a few games as well too. So if you could do that well, and obviously stay healthy, we'd probably been the number 1 secondary, last season.
With that, how does it change in year 2 with Marcus May as far as understanding each other's strengths and weaknesses, and 2, even how you guys are going to play off of each other? Is it better in year 2 and with that?
Yeah, I mean, you would like to think so, and really hope so. Obviously both of us are veteran players,
right.
and
I guess the better way to ask it, is there a better understanding of the way each other play and how you guys can play off each other?
Absolutely. And I think coming into, obviously the second year too, like, it's a comfort level too, because, I hadn't played much deep safety, you know what I mean? So, and I haven't played much quarter 4 safety. So, obviously Marcus played that, in New York much more than I did. So I think me having that year, under my belt, just understanding the scheme from, depth, I think that'll help us out too.
To not have a traditional strong and free safety in this defense, we know Dennis Allen likes to kind of interchange the safeties a lot. Is that where communication comes into play? Yeah,
absolutely. I think that's a big part of it, and obviously, just continuing to get to know each other, continuing to watch film with each other, hang out with each other outside the building, and always talk football. I think all that'll help us out.
And one of the big reasons of optimism, I think, for us outside of the team last year was Alontae Taylor and how he played, and just being with him, practicing with him, seeing how he studies. What should people expect from him in year 2? And what are some of the things that you thought he did really well last year?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, man, I think he's going to be one of those dudes, for a long time. And, like I said, I've played with, some of the best players, of my generation. I've played with Patrick Peterson and, even LeJarry Sneed in Kansas City, like, Jonathan Josephs of the world. Like, I played with guys that, made Pro Bowls and All Pros and, had a lot of success. And, I had a chance to play with Lack, last year. Like, I think he represents, he comes from that mold. So, he's motivated. Like, he's still motivated. So that's what you like to see. I think a lot of guys have success in their rookie year and they kind of, take their foot off the pedal a little bit. But, he's been at workouts every day. Like he's hungry to get back to it.
No, that's like a big statement. Like, those are some huge names you're saying there. Are there commonalities between that you see in cornerbacks, like a couple traits that make the special ones kind of special?
Yeah, I mean, obviously ball skills. You have to be able to get your hands on footballs. I think, how can you affect receivers at the line of scrimmage? Can you backpedal? Can you flip and turn and run? Do you have long speed? Can you cover deep balls 4 times? I think Alontae covered like a deep ball 4 times in a row last year. So you love to see that from cornerbacks. But, I think mostly, how can you impact the number 1 receiver? And I think he had a lot of chances last year, where he was matched up against Devontae Adams and Hopkins, and he held his own. So that's what you love to see.
You mentioned motivation. I want to take you back to the Pittsburgh Steelers loss in the locker room. I think that was the first time we really had a very honest moment with you, asking you about that game. And you said, we're just not a good football team right now.
Yeah.
That's what the conversation was between media and player. When we leave the locker room, what do those conversations look like among the leaders in the locker room? Or is it not even in that moment yet? Is it in defensive meetings later in that week? When you guys were having your struggles, what do those conversations look like when we're not there?
Well, I think they're real. I think we're probably, saying words that, we can't say on TV. So, I think it happens like immediately, as we're walking to the bus, as we're sitting on the bus. I think a lot of our heart-to-hearts came, either on the bus headed to the plane, or, in a defensive, meeting room. So, and we got enough guys in that room to where, I think, if they open their mouth and they say something, like it's coming from a genuine place, it's coming from, an honest place. So, it's easy to respect it and try your best to fix it.
A lot of it, too, I think, with any team, no matter what sport, it's understanding each other's personalities, too, understanding chemistry, when somebody's coming at you, where they're coming from.
Right.
Did you feel like everybody was heard on the defense? Like if a rookie wanted to speak up and be like, this is why we're struggling against team, this is why we're that close to winning games. Was that there?
Well, I think we have enough, like I said, guys that have respect, for one another to where, I think if anybody said something, it could have came from the training staff. You know what I mean? Like we would have tried our best to take heed to it.
How do you guys be the team you want to be this year? I'm assuming last year defensive numbers were all great, but I'm guessing the turnovers, lack of production, the lack of wins.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it sounds like you think the talent is there on the team. How do you guys achieve it and end the season not feeling like, you didn't quite get there?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you have to take the preparation, to the next level. And, I think we prepare, outstanding here. I think we practice, amazing here. But, I think it's always another level. I think it's always, we can definitely challenge each other more, set goals amongst each other that, we hold each other accountable, on reaching. So, if we can do that, man, I think we'll be much better. I think we're already off to a good start this year. A lot of guys are at the off-season workouts, and, a lot of guys are putting their hand in the pile and they're walking around saying, we got to get to the playoffs. You know what I mean? So, that's what you want to see.
How has Dennis Allen been communicating those things with the players? Did you see maybe a difference in him taking this team over, obviously, in his first year? Was there a change at some point in the season where you heard his voice more, or it carried a little bit more weight?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a pretty sure, I don't want to speak for him, but, I'm pretty sure it's probably a huge transition for him as well, too. I think, Sean Payton has been, a staple here, for so long, and, just being the face of, the New Orleans Saints football. So, but, I think as the year went on, for sure, like you heard more of his voice. He demanded more. He challenged us more. I remember him challenging me like mid-game, like, you know what I mean? And that's what you want. That's what you want from coaches. You know what I mean? Especially when you want to be a good player.
So he's kind of vanilla with us. I think that's fair to say, right?
Oh, yeah.
And that's fine.
Oh, yeah.
That's fine. Look, but you mentioned he's coming at you in the middle of the game.
Yeah.
What's he saying?
Well, I think I dropped a few picks last year. You know what I mean? So, like, and he was like, yo, catch him. You know what I mean? So, because I catch him all in practice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, it's just fun, man, to be around a coach that, challenges you, wants the best for you, but know that you can do it.
What's it sound like when he lights someone up? Because I think the biggest criticism that fans have is that it looks like he's just on the sideline, stoic.
Or even it comes off disinterested sometimes.
Nah, well, I think he, obviously he's the head coach now. I think you have to have, a certain level of composure. But, too, I think he has like a great staff. You know what I mean? And so, I think he puts his coaches in a position to do their job. You know what I mean? So he's not trying to like do everybody's job. So, but once we get in the defensive meeting room, like, it's his show. Sure.
Yeah. One of the problems for him is I think Sean's like composure wasn't part of his repertoire at all. So he's like on the sideline skull clapping and all that, doing the choke sign, and DA's is kind of normal. It probably works against him.
He's worried about getting after his players is what it sounds like, making sure you guys are juiced up.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to get into a little rapid fire segment. You up for that?
Cool, let's do it.
Okay, it's going to be New Orleans style.
Okay.
You ready for this?
I hope I don't let them down.
Well, look, you haven't let them down. It seems like that you have been, all three of us can agree, Mike, Nick, and myself, you're kind of the ambassador for some of these new players of, this is what you need to do and expect to do when you get to New Orleans, not put barbecue sauce, right?
No.
Come on.
No.
That was nasty.
Crime.
That was nasty.
Off the top of your head, we'll start with an easy one. What are 3 no-nos for any rookies that come into New Orleans?
3 no-nos?
Like, cannot do. New Orleans fans are going to have a problem with it. It can be food related. It can be any music they listen to, all of that.
Oh, man. Let me think. Well, this is rapid fire. I would probably say you can't ever support the Falcons.
Fair?
Ever. I think if somebody asks you who's your favorite musician, I think you should possibly mention somebody from the New Orleans area. What else? Just don't talk bad about the food.
Yeah. Don't.
Oh yeah, you can't talk bad about food.
Like ever.
All right. Well, then we'll get into the rapid fire segment of this. Go-to snowball stand.
Go-to snowball stand? Oh man, I'd probably say Pandora's.
Favorite high school team to play.
Favorite high school team to play against? Oh man, I love playing against Brother Martin. I just hated him.
All right. Best New Orleans song on the radio.
Best New Orleans song on the radio ever?
Ever.
I'd probably say it was Bling Bling.
All right. Cash Money or No Limit?
I'd probably say Cash Money.
Okay.
When you were here, best parade.
Best parade? Oh man, I'm torn. I like Zulu and I like Bacchus.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Jordan or LeBron?
Jordan. I'm signed to Jordan.
Yeah, I'm with. Obviously we've got him up. We got him up on the wall.
Huh?
What's the best Jordan?
I'd probably say the ones.
Okay.
Yeah, Jordan ones.
Drums or flats?
Drums.
All right. This is a personality question. Best candy.
Best candy? Wow.
I know Nick's
I'd
waiting on this
probably say
one.
Jolly Rancher.
Okay.
See,
all right. What color?
I'd probably say blue.
Oh, you got to go green.
Blue or red?
Blue is a solid choice.
Really
That's like the blue
green.
Sour
I don't
Patch.
really like green
Yeah.
Jolly Rancher.
We're philosophically opposed here.
But
man.
you wouldn't have ever said Twizzlers, right?
No.
Thank
come
you.
on. Twizzlers are good.
All
They're fun.
right,
It's a
there
good
we go.
candy.
It's a
It's a good candy.
Well, Tyrann, thank you so much for joining us, and hey, best of luck this season.
Appreciate it. Thank you guys. Yep.